Hi guys. Hey, it's week 9 already, believe it or not. We're in chapter 9, creating spatial illusions. And in this chapter, we are going to work with the Liquify tool, and a couple of other cool tool options. This is in the textbook, Exploring Adobe Illustrator CS6 by Hartman. And of course, you know by now that there are CC enhancements. Sorry, I've been talking all morning. I don't know why I can't seem to talk now. All right, so we are on the Liquify Tools portion of your chapter, and we are going to take a look at some of the options that are available with them. Now, if you look in your Tools box under the Width tool, if you click and hold, you'll see that there are a variety of different tools available to you. Twirl, warp, bloat, scallop, crystallize, and wrinkle, which would be considered the Liquify tools. All right, the options for the twirl tool, for example, let's pull up the twirl tool. I'm just going to click once on the artboard or double click on the twirl tool, and this will bring up the global brush dimensions, which the width should be at 61.28. The height, well, let's try that again. 61.28 points. And we want the height at 60 points. We want the twirl rate at 40 degrees, detail 2, and the simplify at 50. And then we're going to click OK. And then we'll take a look at an example of what the Liquify tool will do. This is the warp tool. And let's get over here to our exercise. And again, depending on the settings, our results may be a little bit different. And then we're going to go to the twirl tool option. And again, if you click and hold, you'll find the twirl tool. The pucker tool. The bloat tool. The scallop tool. And the crystallize and wrinkle tool. Let's see the crystallize and the wrinkle. So some kind of cool effects. I don't use them this much because honestly I don't feel like I can predict the results enough to really do something on a project that I've got a time-based completion date for. But if you've got some time to experiment, this certainly would be a tool that gets you some interesting shapes. All right, and I will be back in just a moment. All right, now going on with the demo, the envelope tool. Like the Liquify tools, this tool allows you to reshape and distort objects. They're kind of like molds that wrap around objects, bending them in multiple ways. You can edit an envelope with Illustrator's editing tools such as direct selection, transform, and so forth. And they can also be created from paths, compound paths, a variety of different things. So a few of the make with warp options. Original, this is the arc, bulge, flag, and squeeze. And just to make one, it's quite easy. You just select an object, choose Object, Envelope, Distort, and then choose from one of the types of distortions available. So I'm going to back up here. Whoops. And I am going to add a artboard. Or actually what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of a space to it. All right, and then we are going to actually you can select some create an object. I was going to get fancy here, but I guess I won't. We'll just create an object easily. I'll make it simple and then I'll leave it to you to do some creative stuff with it. We're going to go to Object, Envelope, Distort, Make with Warp. And this will show you just briefly what you can do with an arc. If you want to do an arc upper or lower, you can create some kind of interesting shapes. Arch, the bulge, you can do a fish, and a variety of different, and there's so many options that I don't want to take up much of your time with it. I just want to show you the options that are available and make sure that you spend some time with the tool creatively adjusting different objects. All right, then another option that's available with us is, and we are going to use that same shape and we're going to make it with mesh. So again, Object, under Envelope, Distort, and Make with Mesh. I'm going to click OK, and you'll see the mesh is created. And then each one of these little mesh points are individually editable. So you can select it, click and drag to, and then perhaps add another color to it. Let's see if we can do that here. I'm not quite sure why it's not following my lead here, but here we go. But we still should be able to select each one of these mesh points and add a different color to it. And you'll see that that's not doing that. Maybe that's only available with a gradient mesh. Here's the gradient mesh. And again, I'm not quite sure why it's not allowing us to change the colors. So that's one of the advantages of the gradient mesh, is that you have the ability to do that. I'm not going to get hung up on that right now, but you can create the mesh grid and then adjust your shape accordingly by using your direct selection tool. All right, of course, you know, the bulldog that I am, I cannot just allow this to go on. So let me see what the deal is. It must be something that I've done with my artboard inadvertently when I added to it. Let's go up under my colors. right, so there's some kind of a preset with this textbook document. So instead I'm just going to open up a new document. And again, we're going to create that rectangle. We're going to put a color in there, and then we're going to do an object, make with mesh, and we're going to click OK. Then I'm going to test this to see if there was a reason why I could not add color to it. See, it must just be this tool. All right, so let's instead then go to, get rid of this. I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to create another object. And this time I'm going to use the mesh tool rather than the envelope tool, the mesh tool, to create a gradient mesh, or to create a mesh. Right, and you'll see it's very similar. In fact, we could have actually even gone in and created a mesh using the object menu as well. And now, because I've got this selected, I'm going to try and modify it. And now I can add the colors. So again, if you're working with the object envelope distort and then make with mesh, that you're a little bit more restricted than if you choose instead to create a mesh with the gradient mesh tool or the mesh tool. All right, hopefully I didn't belabor that to the point that I put you to sleep, but an interesting and important distinction. And I will be back in just a moment.